You're up next. Clearly someone's excited. Lena, you'll be closing us out. Sam's on deck. Make it loud right now for Ewan. Oh!
Yoo-hoo! Peanut, peanut, peanut.
Brand new jokes. What do you call an incredibly fast soup maker? Taylor Swift.
I thought you said soup for a second.
No, I
was very confused.
maybe I should say dressmaker.
It's really
Yeah, you know, I think Gay Pride Month needs a mascot, right? And I got the perfect mascot. It's the flamingo. You know, it's like the gayest of all animals, right? They're pink. You know, they love to dance. And a group of flamingos, right? You know, they're not called a flock. They're called a flamboyance. It's like all the fun things of Pride Month, right? All wrapped up in one animal and shit. Even the name, flamingo, it's flaming O. Flaming O, that's like a burning butthole. I'm gonna go with this thing later. It's about Black Comic Club, so. Right, you know, the rap game is it's a bit complex, right? It's not all black and white and shit, you know? Whatever, just ask Wiz Khalifa, you know, he'll tell you. It's more like black and yellow, black and yellow, black and yellow.
Yeah.
Alright, what did the Australian chess player say to the waiter?
What?
Said, checkmate. You know, I think Shaquille O'Neal is like literally the happiest man on earth, you know? You know, he's like, oh, he's so jolly and everyone loves him and stuff. And I think it's because no one's ever messed with him. You know, how are you going to bully someone who's so tall that his crotch is in your face? It's like, hey, Shaq, give me your lunch money. Never mind. Yeah, I've seen these billboards all over town about this blind mountain climber that climbed to the top of Mount Everest. It's pretty inspirational. But I was thinking, well, how do you know he was on top of Mount Everest? You know, for all he knows, he could have been on top of Mount Whitney, like just right over there. And I was thinking, that's actually a pretty good business idea. Taking blind mountain climbers up to the top of Mount Everest. And you know that thing going around where if you're like a woman and you're in the woods, alone in the woods, would you rather run into a bear or a strange man, right? And a lot of the women are choosing the bear, you know? But I think it's kind of just ignorance of bear knowledge. Because I ran into a bear in the woods once, and it fucked the shit out of me. Yeah, about 2 weeks ago, North Korea sent over 200 balloons over South Korea. And they're all loaded with like garbage and excrement. Yeah. That statement's not exactly accurate, because they weren't filled with shitty trash. No, they're packed with Dane Cook's jokes. And in retaliation, South Korea sent these loudspeakers and stuff, and they're like blasting like anti-communist propaganda and like K-pop into North Korea, right? Yeah. And then in retaliation for that, North Korea set up their own loudspeakers. But they don't have bands like BTS and stuff like that in North Korea, you know? So they just blast like the most annoying sounds they could think of. And you probably guessed it. Matt Rife comedy special. Yeah. You know, there's a new disorder going around called Usher syndrome. And it makes you go blind and deaf. It's pretty serious. You know, because I always thought when you got Usher syndrome, it just made you go, yeah. Yeah, I got my dog. She's really cute, you know. She's so cute that when other dogs see her, they go, oh my gosh, that dog is so cute. Then they go, oh my gosh, I can talk. Yeah, I was in the United States Army, 1st Cavalry Division, Fort Hood. It was pretty cool, you know. It was weird being the only Asian person, though. Yeah, every day people were just looking at me like, are we supposed to shoot this guy? It's cool, you know, being in the Army. You get some good benefits. I'd say the best benefit was the ability to give old men hard-ons. Yeah, old men, they love hearing Army stories. I guess because it makes them feel younger, it gives them hope for the future or something, but if I meet some old man in a park and I start telling Army stories, I tell you, they start coming all over me. I'll tell you an Army story. Alright, I'll tell you an Army story. It's the day I in process into the Army. And my recruiter, he picks me up, right? And he takes me to the Bonaventure Hotel right over there downtown. And he's like, see that line of people? Get in that line and sign in and they'll tell you what to do. So I do that, and they give me my room key, and they tell me, you better go to sleep early tonight, we're gonna wake you up at 3 o'clock in the morning. I'm 3 o'clock? Like, I'm 18 years old. Shit, I've never woken up 3 o'clock fucking for anything. And I'm like, okay. So I go to sleep, and sure thing, next morning, 3 o'clock, phone rings, right? I'm like, hello? Like, you know, get upstairs or get downstairs, get on the bus. So I do that. And the bus takes us to some Air Force base in Long Beach or something. And then the first thing they do is they break us up into our branches, like Army, Navy, Marines, Air Force. Now, all of us realize right away that all the pretty girls are in the Air Force, you know, and I'm in the Army, so I'm like, fuck. But anyway, so we take our first test, and it's like this SAT on steroids and shit. It's fucking crazy. So those who pass that test, they break us up in these little groups. And so they say, hey, go into this room. So I walk into this room, and right when I look in, I'm like, what the fuck? You know, the room is full of a bunch of dudes. They're all in like, rows and stuff, and they're all in their underwear. And they're like doing jumping jacks and stuff like that. And they're like, get in here, you know? I'm like, what? I guess, right? And they're like, take off your clothes, hurry up, and get in line. And I'm like, what the fuck is this? You know, I've never done anything like this before and shit. So I'm like, okay, I guess. Anyway, I get in line with everyone else. And what it is, there's a sergeant in the front, and he's telling everyone what to do, like, do jumping jacks. All right, now do windmills. All right, now do squats. And so these 2 other sergeants, they're walking back and forth, and they're just like watching us like hawks and shit. Now one of those sergeants, he yells at the guy next to me, he's like, you, do that windmill again. And the guy, he tries, but he can't go all the way up. And so the guy's like, get out, you're out. And that's it, that's how quick it was. And then that was just the beginning. You know, then we had vision tests, hearing tests, freaking all sorts of tests. And they were just dropping people left and right, you know, they're just like, get out, you're out, you're out. At one point, there was this Mexican dude, he was like this big old dude, and he's all tatted up and shit. And he's sitting there, he's like telling everyone like how his dad was a Marine, and how his uncles were all Marines and shit, and he's gonna like be the best Marine in the world. And then this guy comes out, he's like, you're out. He's like, what? He's like, why? He's like, because your neck is too thick. You know, your neck is too thick. Yeah, that was it. Wow. And like, he almost started crying right then and there in front of everybody. And so all these tests are, you know, happens one after another, you know, I passed all these tests. Finally, around 5 o'clock at night, sergeant's like, all right, you know, I passed my final test. He's like, you know, congratulations, son, you're in the United States Army. And I shook his hand, I was like, thank you, Sergeant. You know, I was like so happy and like so proud of myself, you know. But then the whole time I was in the Army, I couldn't wait to get out of that motherfucker. Okay, I'll tell you another story. The day I saw Real Life Cowboys, I don't know if you've ever seen Real Life Cowboys, but they're pretty impressive, you know, at least the ones I saw. This time I was driving cross country, and I was in Nebraska. And I wanted to just look around, right? So I got off the freeway. And then right when I did that, I was like, oh shit, this is a big mistake. Because there was like 50 cows in front of me. And then they were like all coming at me and shit. And then I stopped my car, I'm like, what am I supposed to do now, you know? I'm like, maybe I should back up or something? But right then the cows start parting. And I could see why. It's these 2 guys that are on horses, and they're riding up. They're like, yeah. And then because of that, the cows are parting, and they're doing that for me, right? So I drive past them, you know, and I'm like looking at them, I'm like, man, these guys are fucking awesome. They're both like 6'4", like 240 pounds, something like that. And then the older guys maybe 35, the younger guys maybe 25. And they had like cowboy hats and jean jackets, and they both had pistols and shit. You know, I was in the Army, so I seen some tough motherfuckers, but these guys are tough as nails. You know, you can just see that. And I was just watching like, man, these guys are fucking awesome, dude. Look at these guys. And then I jerked off and went on. Yeah, you know, the other day I was driving around, I got pulled over by a horse cop. Yeah, it's crazy. I didn't even know it was behind me until I heard this. Woo, woo. It wasn't Siren making that sound either, it was the horse. And, you know, earlier this year, scientists reported for the first time 2 male humpback whales having sex. Yeah. Hollywood's already going to make a movie about them. Yeah, they're called Humpback Mountain. That's weird how language changes over time, right? Like nowadays, if a guy came up to me and told me he was going to blow my brains out, I wouldn't know whether to run away or pull my pants down. You know, the NFL is one Asian player, and he's a kicker. Could you not find a more racist position for this guy? What, are you going to make him go out barefoot in a karate uniform? I was watching the Oscars this past season, and towards the end, I was getting all excited. I was like, hey, look, they bring back the Mummy. But then I saw it again, I was like, oh no, that's just Al Pacino. Yeah, you know, I've had sex with all types of women, white, black, Asian, and Mexican. In my opinion, Asian women get the best blowjobs. Yeah. If any of you ladies would like to prove me wrong, you can meet me in the bathroom later. Alright, I know this last joke. You know, comedians will always tell you two things, right? They'll always tell you when they just got booked on a show, and they'll always tell you when they just had sex. That's a bit juvenile, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like myself, I haven't been booked on a show in over a month. But I did get laid last week, so whoa!
Yeah!
Thank you, I'm out here, thank you.
You want to know, you guys, keep it fucking going, hell yeah. Or start it going, I don't know. Big motherfuckers. God damn it, Lena.